Superstation is in a league of its own. We are the only talk radio station in the Metro Detroit area sensitive to the African American community.
Make sure you join us on what station?
910 a.m. The Superstation.
910 a.m.
910 a.m.
On 910 a.m. Superstation.
910 a.m. Superstation, Metro Detroit's only African American based talk radio station. 910 a.m. Superstation has arrived, and we're here to stay.
But the mayor claims he's done all these things that we see that are visually different downtown and in Midtown. So why couldn't some of that money...
Kwame did the same thing. Bing did the same thing.
We're not talking about Kwame and Bing right now. We're talking about Mayor Duggan. If these things have been done, and a lot of great things have been done in the last 4 years, I think that why people feel left out is because the concentration has been isolated.
When you go to another city, do you care about the neighborhoods, or do you care about downtown that you most likely are staying in?
I care about all of it because I don't live downtown. Maybe you do.
I see that differently.
We've got the topics, the guests, the opinions, and the facts.
Coleman Young just proved the fact that he's a buffoon. This guy said, motherland? What does that to relate to?
Let me ask you this, David. Let me ask you this. Before the debate, were you already leaning toward Mayor Duggan as your candidate?
Yes, I was already, because I know about Coleman Young.
Catch it all right here on 910 a.m. Superstation. 910 a.m. Superstation. We're the hottest station in town. Why? Because when it happens, we talk about it.
Call somebody a crook long enough or often enough in the course of an hour debate, and a lot of voters will walk away believing, oh my gosh, he is a crook. And I think that was Coleman Young's strategy. He also pounded this idea that Mike Duggan is absent from the neighborhoods, that he's not out there among the people, and that he is wedded to the downtown developers, and that he spends all of his time courting those developers and worrying about downtown. And he just kept coming back and back to that. And then this idea that the neighborhoods are not getting what they deserve in terms of Detroit's comeback. And, those were the themes Coleman Young pushed. I thought he kept Mike Duggan on his toes a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
910 a.m. Superstation, the best, the brightest, and the bravest voices of Detroit.
Celebration Church of Detroit is on the move. Join them starting Sunday, October 1st at 9 a.m. at their new spacious home, the Auditorium of Southeastern High School, 3030 Fairview on Detroit's East Side. Come and receive a life-changing word from Bishop Greg Davis. Starting Sunday, October 1st at 9 a.m. for 90 minutes of praise, worship, and the Word. Their new home, Southeastern High School, October 1st, 3030 Fairview.
910 a.m. Superstation gives you the flip side, the real side. This is our side.
We are the champions.
You're listening to 910 a.m. Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station. The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 a.m. Superstation or Adele Media. You're listening to 910 a.m. Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station. There's always something new to talk about, and 910 a.m. Superstation wants to have you covered from every angle. So we're adding some familiar voices and strong opinions to the best talk radio station in town.
I'm Republican, from Detroit, and I'm black. Yeah, that's right. Different perspective, different view. Don't miss the Wayne Bradley Show on Superstation 910 a.m.
From 7 to 9 a.m., we'll have the editor for the Detroit News, Nolan Finley.
This is the most volatile time in the country in my professional career. And, that generates a lot of news, a lot of stuff to talk about.
Followed by the one and only David Alexander Bullock from 9 to 11 a.m.
The People Show, man, we bring it to you live and in full effect.
The always insightful and controversial Steve Niebling from 11 a.m. to noon.
And I do want to hear from you what you want to hear from me.
Bankalay Thompson from noon to 2 p.m.
This is the platform where we delve into the facts and informed opinion. We ask the tough questions.
The Cliff Russell Show from 2 to 4 p.m.
I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care.
Spud from 4 to 6 p.m.
Detroit's only African-American talk station, 24/7 Spud is here.
Rochelle Riley from 6 to 7 p.m.
I want to stress that this adventure is about life in Detroit and Michigan.
This Pastor Mo, a.k.a. the Street Preacher, a.k.a. the Street Sweeper.
You listen to the Lola George Show. It's your girl, Lola George.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. If you want to hear the voices of Detroit, look no further than 910 AM Superstation.
On the mayoral's race.
Yes.
I like Coleman. I think this is a bright brother. I just think he's being led the wrong way. This old cat.
Whoever told him to run for mayor.
He needs to sit down and take his share talk. And by him bringing out these racially charged videos and commercials,
it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help his cause.
All that black and white stuff, man. Come on, man.
Mike Duggan is wrong, especially because he cheated the people of Detroit out of more than one debate.
Yeah, folks.
That right there, I would have said, you out of here. You know, money buy people, but you know what? Money can't buy me. And then, like you said, a lot of things that was put in through Dave Ing that he's taking credit for.
Right.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. .910 AM Superstation, giving you exactly what you need. Thank you for calling 910 AM Superstation. What's your question or comment?
Mario, what was your take?
I have a feeling that most people watched the first part of that debate and said, let me go watch Mr. Verlander pitch a couple innings. Because I was disappointed in Mike Duggan because Mike has been known to be a master debater. And he didn't deliver those solid punches that I thought he was going to deliver. And I was disappointed in Senator Young for the simple fact that he inserted race from the beginning, he inserted race in the middle, and he closed with this race-baiting take back to motherland thing, which I thought was totally out of place, inappropriate for someone who was behind in the polls and wanted to deliver and convince people that he had a solid plan of action to move the city to the next level.
Call in and chime in on the conversation. Take down the number and lock us in your speed dial. It's 313-209-9000. That's 313-209-9000.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative political radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative political radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Yeah.
And good afternoon, Detroit. It's Sunday afternoon here on the Wayne Bradley Show, live on 910 AM, your superstation. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about from this past week of allegations and indictments handed out, and then the burning down of the Democrat Party by Donna Brazille. Donna Brazille, over the last couple of days, has been making some revelations that, for some of us, we pretty much already knew. But it's just unusual to hear someone that works directly in politics to know that this could, affect your career, affect everything you work for. But you know what? Donna Brazille is honest, people. She told the truth about the corruption of the Democrat Party in cahoots with Hillary Clinton and how they did everything they could to keep Bernie Sanders from being elected. Now, truth be told, I still think Donald Trump would have beat Bernie Sanders because Americans are more still leaning to be in a capitalist mind frame than that of the socialist ways of Bernie Sanders. But I will say there would have been more motivated people, been more young people who would have gotten involved. The minority community was never believed in Hillary Clinton, and I think that that's a key demographic that the Democrat Party once again took for granted, just assumed that they would win. But you know what? I want Donna Brazille to say what she had to say herself. I don't want to put words in her mouth. I don't want to make these allegations because they are some salacious details. So I'm going to go ahead right now, and I'm going to play the interview that Donna Brazille had this morning on ABC News. You guys go ahead and take a listen to this for a little bit.
To focus his fire back on the Democrats. And he got some ammunition with the explosive revelations in former DNC Chair Donna Brazille's new book, Hacks, the inside story of the break-ins and breakdowns that put Donald Trump in the White House. Brazille claims the DNC gave Hillary Clinton an unfair edge over Bernie Sanders and reveals she considered replacing Clinton as the nominee after Clinton fainted at a 9/11 ceremony. The ticket I like most, she writes, was Joe Biden and New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. I felt certain that that combination would win the general election. And Donna Brazille, who has also been a longtime ABC contributor, joins us now. Welcome back, Donna.
Thank you, George.
Let's get some facts on the table first. As DNC chair, you didn't have the power on your own to replace Hillary on the ticket.
No, but as you well know, the charter of the DNC, as well as the convention rules, say that the chairperson shall, in consultation with the leadership in Congress and others. And so I had to put it on the table, George, because I was under tremendous pressure after Secretary Clinton fainted to have a quote-unquote plan B. I didn't want a plan B. Plan A was great for me. I supported Hillary, and I wanted her to win, but we were under pressure.
So how serious was this? You write that you got a call from Vice President Biden at the time. Did you mention this to the Vice President?
No, I did not. I mean, look, everybody was calling to see, do you know anything? How is she doing? And of course, my job at the time, George, was to reassure people, not just the vice president, but also reassure the Democratic Party, the members of the party, that Hillary was doing fine and that she would resume her campaign in the following week.
Do you still think that Biden and Booker would have won?
Well, you know, I had a lot of other combinations. This was something that you play out in your mind. But at the time, I was sitting next to Charlie Baker, who was her chief administrator.
Clinton's campaign.
Yeah, that's right. And Charlie and I put down, and we had a lot of rumors coming. I had the former chair of the DNC calling me, Donald Fowler Senior, what are you doing? Look, the bottom line is she resumed campaigning. I went on TV to say that the campaign was back on track.
As you can imagine, there's been quite a reaction to this, including this open letter from the Hillary for America 2016 team signed by about 100 people. They say they were shocked to learn that you were considering this, and they go on to say it is particularly troubling and puzzling that she would seemingly buy into false Russian-fueled propaganda spread by both the Russians and our opponent about our candidate's health.
Well, George, at the time, like I said, I talked with Charlie Baker, but as it relates to that...
Did you mention this idea to him?
No, I kept my own counsel. I'm the chair of the party, George, and I decided I wanted to be up front with someone inside the campaign, and Charlie was there sitting across from me. But let me just address what my former colleagues... I wasn't a staff person. I did not work for the Hillary Clinton campaign. I was not on their daily strategy calls. I had nothing to do with their data analytics. I was the chair of the Democratic National Committee. I was concerned about the entire party, not just the presidential, but the senatorial, congressional, and all of the other
From the sound of it, it sounds like you had a pretty dysfunctional relationship with the high command in Hillary's campaign. You even talk about telling them at some point, I'm not Patsy the slave.
Oh, George, let me tell you something. I could not control the purse string of the Democratic Party, and I had to figure out what was going on within the party, that the chair of the party, and remember, I wasn't just a chair, I'm also a vice chair. I was an officer for 8 years. 8 years under President Obama. I knew what was going on within the party. I become chair, and I'm trying to write a check for something. I raised the money, and they're like, you got to get signed off from Brooklyn. I said, Brooklyn? This wasn't a standard joint fundraising agreement. They had a separate memorandum of understanding, and I needed to break that. But in order to break it, I would cause a great commotion. So, yeah, I'm not Patsy the slave because I got sick and tired of people telling me how to spend money when all I was trying to do, I wasn't getting a salary. I was basically volunteering my time. And what I was trying to do, George, was to increase the level of enthusiasm and passion for Hillary Clinton and the rest of the ticket all across the country.
They also take exception to your description of the campaign right now as an antiseptic, sterile campaign inside the headquarters. A lot of people saying that is not the campaign they knew.
Well, you know what? They should take a page from Hillary's book, take a look inside of what they did last year, and then they should write their own book. Hillary wrote a book, which I enjoy reading. It was part memoir. It was a history book. I love reading her book. If they don't like my book, don't buy it. But let me just say this. I have every right as a former chair of the party. Next year, I will celebrate almost 50 years in American politics. The Democratic Party is 170 years old.
I get that, but how do you respond? It's not just the Clinton campaign. You know, there's a lot of traffic on Twitter right now. I've gotten emails from Democrats, passionate Democrats, who say they feel betrayed by all this. Any regrets?
Do I regret taking on a job the second time in my life as chair of the party, cleaning up everybody's mess, taking all of the income in, being unable to spend funds that I raised? Do I regret being on the road 100% of the time, being hacked by the Russians, being harassed, getting death threats? Do I regret any of that? George, this was worse than Hurricane Katrina in terms of the emotional toll. But do I regret standing up for what's right, helping Hillary Clinton, helping the Democratic Party? And let me just say this. As somebody who went through the hacking experience, being able to tell the truth about what happened with the Russians, the attack on our government, do I regret any of that? No, I wish I could have done more, George.
But do you think this helps for the book to come out?
Well, George, I mean, this is a lesson of 2016. If I released it next year, they would say, Donna, you're impacting on 2018. If I release it the following, Donna, you're impacting. George, for those who are telling me to shut up, they told Hillary that a couple of months ago. You know what I tell them? Go to hell. I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to tell my story, George, because this is a story of a young girl who started in American politics at the age of 9, who continues to fight each and every week of her life. I went down to Virginia last week to kick off the canvassing campaign. Nobody paid me to do that. Nobody, I'm not on a payroll, George. I care about my country. I care about our democracy. And I say go to hell because why am I supposed to be the only person that is unable to tell my story? Now, I've heard a lot of people tell me various things as well, but here's what they don't know. They don't know what it was like to be over at the DNC during this hacking. They don't know what it's like to bury a child. I did, Seth Rich. They don't know what it's like to protect the staff from further harassment. They don't know what it's like because the high command of Brooklyn, the people who were making the decisions, even for the DNC, they didn't come and work with us. They told us to shut up and basically let them win the election. And when we tried to intervene, we had to spend money we raised to try to help them win. And that was my job as chair of the party.
Pretty clear you have no regrets at all right there. You just mentioned Seth Rich, who, of course, was killed during the campaign. Did you feel under threat?
Every day, especially when Donald Trump, when Donald Trump would go out there and tweet. You know, look, I've worked on campaigns all my adult life. I've been called some of the worst things in America. But when Donald Trump would go out there and attack me, the threats were just unbearable. My house right now I got every different kind of security device. I had to get my home swept. I had to get the DNC swept twice. It was horrible.
As you know, he's tweeting again based on your book. Just the other day, he put out the real story on collusion is in Donna B's new book. Crooked Hillary bought the DNC and then stole the Democratic primary from crazy Bernie.
Well, Donald Trump likes to distract. I mean, what Donald Trump should be focusing on right now is protecting our country from being hacked again. He should be working with Congress to ensure that the American people will feel confident that we are going to have a good election season in 2017, 2018. Donald Trump loves to distract us and divide us. I'm not playing this game.
He wants an investigation, the Department of Justice.
Well, I think he needs to look in his own house before he tries to clean up someone else's house.
Do you think this joint fundraising agreement was anything illegal at all?
As I said at the time, George, I did not like the fact that there was an additional memorandum that spelled out what the Clinton campaign could do in exchange for bailing the Democratic Party out. I give Secretary Clinton credit for bailing the Democratic Party out because we were in debt.
But I've seen the email traffic, and it appears from at least one email that the Sanders campaign was offered the exact same term. They could also negotiate an agreement of their own if they raised more money. They chose not to.
The Sanders campaign set up a joint fundraising account as well, but they chose not to put money in it. But they also chose to allow the DNC to control what little funds they did put in it. This was a separate, what this was an additional memorandum.
Right, but they were offered that same thing. Here's the email. If you're raising significantly more than the amount to cover the voter file for the DNC staff would be happy to chat with the Sanders team and come to an understanding about the best way to use those funds to prepare for the general election at the DNC. So they were offered a similar chance.
George, when I found out the reason why the chair of the party, the chair of the Democratic National Committee, could not spend the funds, I found the agreement myself. This is the agreement they put out. This is the agreement I found. And what I tried to do, George, was to work within the parameters of this agreement so that I could hire staff, so that I could spend money that we raised, and so that I could help Hillary and Tim Kaine and all of the other Democrats win. As for any agreements or side agreements they had with Senator Sanders, I've never seen that before, George.
Do you agree with Elizabeth Warren that the primaries were rigged?
I don't think she meant the word rigged, because what I said, George, as you well know, after I left this show back on July 24th, I said I would get to the bottom of everything. And that's what I did. And I called Senator Sanders to say, you know, I wanted to make sure there was no rigging in the process. I'm on the Rules and Bylaws Committee. I found no evidence, none whatsoever. The only thing I found, which I said I found the cancer, but I'm not killing the patient, was this memorandum that prevented the DNC from running its own operations.
You also write about that email where you appear to share questions with the Clinton campaign from a debate on CNN. We're showing it up on the screen right now. And in the past, you said that sending those emails was a mistake you'll forever regret. But in the book, it seems you're still not sure you sent this email.
Well, George, I mean, when you're hacked, I mean, look, I have 7 email accounts, maybe more. When you're hacked and you don't know, I'm the only person in America that had to go and look and say, okay, where is it? Where is it? I knew I'd sent emails, of course, George.
So you're not denying that you sent this email?
George, I'm not. First of all, I said straight up, I said, look, if this was sent, I know why I sent it. I apologize. I spent the entire month of August apologizing for the leaked, hacked emails, which is a crime. And so far, no one has been charged with the crime. But I've apologized. I said, I'm sorry. But here's what I also say in the book that I thought was very helpful to the reader, and that is to tell people during this time when we were under pressure to add more debates to the schedule, I went out to get more debates. Well, CNN was the beneficiary of those debates, but I wanted more diversity. I wanted more diverse voices. And yes, I wanted issues that people cared about. People were, as you recall, Black Lives Matter. They were marching in the streets. They wanted us to address criminal justice reform. And yes, when CNN agreed to go to Flint, Michigan, we wanted to have a conversation about the water crisis. All of that's in the memo. All of that's in the book.
Did you ever share questions with the Sanders campaign?
Let me tell you something, George, and I also have in a book that even on occasions when I knew the topics on ABC, I even talked to the Republicans about what the topics would be. I shared with everybody because, you know what, I wanted the best information possible. The second thing is I didn't want the candidates shocked by the nature of the questions. For the first time, we were going to go beyond, you know, talking about the usual issues that animate Democratic primaries, and we were going to talk about issues that concern Black Lives Matter.
You have some tough words for the leaders of your party in here in the book as well. And here's what you write. We've had 3 Democratic parties, the party of Barack Obama, the party of Hillary Clinton, and the weak little vestige of a party led by Debbie that was doing a very poor job getting people who are not president elected. These 3 titanic egos, Barack, Hillary, and Debbie, have stripped the party to a shelf for their own purposes.
Well, over 1,000 state legislative seats. And by the way, I take responsibility too, George. I'm a Democrat. We've lost thousands of state legislative seats. We've lost gubernatorial seats. But we have an opportunity on Tuesday in New Jersey and Virginia to fight back, to regain some of the lost ground over the last 10 years. And that's what I'm hoping will happen. Every voter should know out there that their vote counts. Their voice must be heard. I encourage them to get out and vote next week in Virginia and New Jersey and later on in Alabama. Well, I'll be in Alabama by the end of the month. It's important that everybody votes. Yes, I take a hard hit at people within the party because I love my party, I love my country, and I'm going to continue to fight for it.
Continue to fight for it. And are you confident now that the Democratic Party can be fixed, and what's the most important thing it needs to do?
Well, first of all, I am very confident that Tom Perez is leading in the right direction. We have a unity commission that is going to examine all of the things I raised about the primary contest and the caucus system. We have Keith Ellison and others who are energizing the grassroots. The party is making a substantial investment in the states. And, George, one of the things that bothered me especially in the Patch of the Slave chapter, I got some controversial chapters, I understand, but anybody from Louisiana know that I'm going to put some hot sauce on every page. And if it's not dripping with something that's hot and spicy, it's not me. But, George, what I'm most confident of is that we now have a party that is invested in all 50 states. You know, imagine you're the chair of the party. I'm from Louisiana. I am from the South, and I cannot get one poster outside of Florida, Virginia, and North Carolina to go home to Louisiana or Mississippi or Alabama. I can't send any resources to those states. I'm the chair of the party. And by the way, I didn't ask to be chair, George. When I left your show on July 24th, I thought I was getting ready to go out and have a nice brunch. Instead, I was called to say, Donna, we need you to step up again. And I did.
It has been some year. Donna Brazille, thanks very much.
It's always a pleasure, George.
Oh, my goodness. That was brutal. You go ahead, Donna Brazille. Woo. Now, that is what you call, she just ethered the whole Democrat Party right there. That's pretty amazing. I don't know if you listen to all the different details, but I'll just say this as someone that's worked in politics. That's got to be extremely frustrating. And I've heard stories from Michael Steele. That's got to be extremely frustrating to be the chairperson of the party, trying to win races throughout the country, and you can't even control any of the money that you raised because of this different memorandum. And see, folks, that's what people need to understand about the Hillary Clinton, what I call mafia. And I don't want to talk too much about them because everybody ends up, I really do pray. Now, I was jokingly saying earlier in the week, like, I hope nothing happens. Donna Brazille really stepped out there and took some chances in what she had to do. And you know what? I don't think that I think in particular, the black Democrats and even the black Democrats that I know, are happy that she did it because they feel like it needs to be called out. And I think that's something in different walks of work. Black senior management guys are the last guy to get the word in and not being listened to. And I cannot imagine being the chairman of the party and you can't spend the money that you raise the way you want to help win this race. And like she said, build enthusiasm. She understood, I'll just say this, she understood how to get in touch with black folks and make black people feel more enthused about a candidate than anyone from Hillary Clinton's campaign. I trust that. And I think it's, it's shameful. And I think that people need to understand that this is how the Democrat Party plays games. We need your black face there, but we don't want your input. And, that's unfortunate. I think that, listening to her story, you could just tell how mad she was. And callers, we got callers calling in right now. We're going to take all the calls after the break. So be patient here. I know we got someone calling in right now, but we're going to take calls after the break because when you think about the in-depth disrespect that they had for Donna Brazille, what does that tell you about the Democrat Party? What does that tell you they really think about black women? That they can catapult them to the top, but won't listen to them. And why? Because Hillary Clinton and her team, folks that were already, they think that they knew better. How is it that people could think that, that they know better? How do they think they understand to reach out to the community better than Donna Brazille? That's what I want to know. That it just blows my mind, what I would consider the arrogance of the elites in the Democrat Party. These are the same people that think they understand what is good for the black community. These are the exact same people, folks. I want you to understand that. These are the same people who are making a lot of the decisions in the community. And it's unfortunate. Give us a call. We're going to talk about this more after the break. 313-209-9000. We got a lot to talk about today. We've got Donna Brazille. We're going to talk a little bit about the Mueller investigations that are seeming to move more rapidly. But I think that the Trump campaign and the people in the administration are happy that these things are moving fast. So you said you're going to bring in? We're going to take one call before the break. All right, we'll take one call before the break. We got time. We're going to go with Olaf because Olaf's on the line. Olaf, welcome to the show.
What's up, bro? What's going on with you, bro?
I'm all right. How you doing?
All right, my man. The only Republican I ever had love for.
And I appreciate it, brother. What did you think of that interview with Donna Brazille?
Listen, man, we're not surprised. We know Hillary's crooked, man. She's crooked, Hillary, rotten, Clinton. I've been told you that, man. Right. She's crooked, and lock her up. And she can go to jail too.
Well, that's the real. This is the irony here, man. This is the real collusion story in D.C. It's not anything with Trump and Russia. It's the collusion of the DNC and Hillary ignoring the vote of the Bernie supporters, using these super delegates to win an election that they had no chance, that they shouldn't have won based off the popular vote of the Democrat Party.
Bernie should have got it. We all know that. Even when it was all going down, Bernie should have got it. Even though he would have lost, I wouldn't have voted for his behind anyways. But
I mean, his ideas in practice are pretty doggone scary too. I mean, I don't care. I know Bernie had a good heart or whatever, but if you put that guy,
I wasn't a Bernie supporter, anyways. You know, I held my nose when I went in the box and voted for Hillary. So either which way, it was a no-win situation for me. You know what I'm saying, bro? So. It is. I mean, look at it right now. Look at Tom Perez, Uncle Tom Perez. Now, you see how they did Brother Keith Ellison a couple weeks ago. A little bit of power that brother had, they took that away from him. You know what I'm saying? So when I come and I tell you,
what did they do to Keith Ellis? What did they do to Keith? What did they do? They took away some of his voting power at the last convention. I must have missed out on that one.
At the last convention.
So they disenfranchised another black man from the Democrat Party.
That's right. Because you got to remember also now, Brother Ellison is in line with who? Bernie Sanders. So that tells you where the crumbs fall. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, hey, listen, Olaf. I appreciate your honesty in calling in on that because we need more Democrats to speak up, and I think that again, I know a lot of black Democrats that are pretty happy that. Donna Brazille spoke up. So thanks again, Olaf, for calling in, brother, and keep listening to the Wayne Bradley Show on 9:10 a.m. Your Superstation. All right. We'll be back in a minute, and we got a couple callers still on the line, and we're going to talk more about the Donna Brazille book and allegations with the Democrat Party. Thank you.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative political radio. Giving you what you need to know. Listen up. It's the Wayne Bradley Show.
910 AM Superstation, the only urban talk radio station in town.
How you gonna be nonviolent in Mississippi as violent as you were in Korea? How can you justify being nonviolent in Mississippi and Alabama when your churches are being bombed and your little girls are being murdered? And at the same time, you're gonna get violent with Hitler and Tojo and somebody else that you don't even know. If violence is wrong in America, violence is wrong abroad. If it's wrong to be violent, defending black women and black children and black babies and black men, then it's wrong for America to draft us and make us violent abroad in defense of her. And if it is right for America to draft us and teach us how to be violent in defense of her, then it is right for you and me to do whatever is necessary to defend our own people right here in this country.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. Don't miss the best day party in town every Saturday at 4 p.m. on 910 AM Superstation with Chuck Bennett.
If I meet 2 people at each party, that's 10 people every week that I meet. At the end of the year, that's 520 people at parties.
Right.
That's a lot of names to remember.
That is.
But now, so then I get somebody who comes up to me and says, "Hi, Chuck, do you remember me?" All right, you do the math.
Saturdays at 4 p.m. only on 910 AM Superstation. There's always something new to talk about, and 910 AM Superstation wants to have you covered from every angle. So we're adding some familiar voices and strong opinions to the best talk radio station in town.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Riley, and I'm so glad to be joining the family at 910 AM Superstation. We're going to be talking about it all Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Don't miss it.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. 910 AM Superstation is the voice of the people. Don't believe me? Just listen.
I listen all the time. Great radio personalities.
The new mobile site is incredible. With the visual live feed, this is a whole new level for community broadcasting. I'm also very impressed with the Bible section present both in a written and audio format. 910 AM has really stepped it up to a whole new level.
Tune in, call in, and don't forget to find us on social media.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative political radio. Giving you what you need to know. Listen up. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show.
And welcome back to the Wayne Bradley Show live on 910 a.m. your superstation. We listened earlier to the Donna Brazille interview where she talked about how she was somewhat maligned and was not able to exercise her power as chairman by the party because of an agreement that the Clinton campaign had tied into the DNC, essentially because they bailed them out financially. That any money they were raising was going to, a lot of it was going to be dictated in the way that the Clinton team deemed appropriate. Now, this goes into a bigger issue, and like I said, as a Republican, I do think that, this is something that, again, this woman had became the chairman of the party and still was not given the trust and the power that she needed to help the Democrat Party win. Now, rigging it in terms of for Hillary Clinton, I don't find that as news. I think that a lot of people realize that the fix was in for Hillary Clinton because these super delegates are the reason that she won. We don't have super delegates in the Republican Party. Trust me. We do not have them because if they would have had these kind of super delegates that meant more than the common voters, the Republican Party won't tolerate that. We will not tolerate as grassroots organizers, even the appearance of having people that's vote counted more than if one vote counted more than the others, there would be tyranny. There would be a big fight about that. And then obviously in the Democrat Party, they don't have these issues, and they have basically taken advantage of that. They took advantage of it big time with the election of Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I got a couple callers on the line, but you can give us a call, 313-209-9000. We're going to go to Michael. Michael, you're on the line.
So, Wayne, let's do a quick recap.
Mm-hmm.
The Clinton campaign said, let's use the fact that Bernie Sanders is a Jew, even though he's a secular Jew, but he said, let's use the fact that he's a Jew because some of the people that will vote for us won't vote for him on that fact. Do you remember that?
I mean, yeah, they used his religion. But this is the Clinton machine. These are the same people that created the birther movement with President Obama. Like, no one wants to ever talk about that. They don't want to bring that up. But this is how the Clintons play ball. This is how they've always played ball. And now, I guess Donna Brazille had enough. She needed to cleanse her soul. And like she said, it was more about, this is all about selling the book. Let's just be honest here. She's selling the book. And her thing is that Hillary Clinton can come out, which I thought was very I thought it was very tacky at the very least. It was tacky that she would come out with a book and talk about how she lost and blame it on everyone but herself, blame it on the fact that it was the DNC that didn't have an operation, they didn't have this, didn't have that. Never the fact that she was just a terrible candidate, that no one in her own party liked her, except for the rich elites. That's who she had the support of. She never had the support of the grassroots. That was Bernie Sanders. And Donna Brazille talked about how she was going to push a ticket of Joe Biden and Cory Booker, which I think would have been a way more formidable ticket than what Hillary Clinton put together of herself and Tim Kaine.
So the reason why I brought that up is because there are people who are going to call us as conservatives and leaning in the Republican Party. They're going to call us the sellout. So what I wanted to say is the Democrats use racism against Sanders. Cory Booker is a black Muslim. Oh, no, he can't lead the DNC when rightfully he should have. So they use his race against him. They use his religion against him. And now
are you talking about Ellison? You're talking about Ellison. Yeah, Ellison. The brother. And that brother's from Detroit. He went to UAD High School.
Yeah, he's from Detroit.
Yep.
That's right. He's from Detroit. And they use the fact that he's a black Muslim. Oh, no, he can't lead the DNC. And now we find that a black woman was disenfranchised by the Democratic.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting, Michael.
You can't.
It's disgusting. How could the Democrat Party be the party that is all so inclusive? The Republican Party is the party of the racists, the xenophobes. But like you said, they take Keith Ellison out. They don't let Donna Brazille do her job, and that's it's just business as usual. Business as usual in the Democrat Party.
And so, but we're the ones who are supporting the racists. We're the ones who are supporting those who put a glass ceiling up on black folks. And as I've said before,
There's nobody who's been a worser person or organization to black people than the Democratic Party, but yet they get 95% of our vote. Why? Because they say, oh, no, it's not us. It's the other guy. Thanks, brother.
Thank you for calling in, Michael. I appreciate that. And, we've got John who's also on the line. John, thank you for calling in.
Wayne, buddy. How you doing, man? How you doing,
I'm
Wayne?
all right. How you doing?
I am a staunch supporter of Miss Hillary Clinton, and I know she not all that, but she is a great woman.
Who is that? Who's a great woman?
Well, Hillary Clinton, she's been through the ringer. And Donna Brazille is also a great woman. So I'm going to put a real A- by that, A+, matter of fact.
You think Hillary Clinton is a nice woman?
Yeah. Hear me out, Wayne.
Go ahead.
Wayne.
I'm listening.
Did you know that he's about to be another Bogart session? I told you Trump was locked up in the triangle. He got all his men in the triangle for a poop triangle, man. I told you that.
No, well, listen. Let's see what happens with that. I mean, only collusion I've seen so far has been between.
They want to talk at it. They want to talk at both our sections again. You read what they want to talk about.
Listen, like I said, we're going to talk about the Mueller investigation, but every person that they are going after are people that have made financial crimes and not reporting to their foreign agents, not actually colluding with Russia. What they're doing is they're trying to put the pressure on these guys to come up with some story to try to get to Donald Trump. I mean, let's just be honest.
Wait. He was setting session with Chuck and the Russians and so forth.
No. It's a difference between sitting in a room and having a discussion about policy decisions than trying to say there was collusion.
I was in session with him. They had Russian spy was in session with him. So now, come on, you got all that stuff on both our sessions, Wayne.
I don't. Let's let the court. Hey, John, let's let the courts play it out where it may. Let's see what happens.
Don't be fooled, Wayne. Come on now.
I'm not fooled about anything. I'm looking forward to see what happens. It's moving at a fast pace. And I think that, again, the only thing that Donald Trump has to worry about is a couple guys getting in trouble with some financial crimes, and we'll deal with that as the time comes. But I don't see how this adds up to collusion.
You would say something like that, Wayne. I know you're trying to be nice and polite, but, Wayne, let's face the facts, man.
I am. The facts are that two different men are in trouble for doing. One guy actually was convicted for lying to the FBI, which you should never do. No one should lie to the FBI. And two other guys are in trouble for financial crimes. Doesn't exactly mean that's Russian collusion with my president. Well, let's see what all that information is, John. But let's see what all that information is, John, before we jump to conclusions. What I do know is that the real collusion story right now is what Donna Brazille is talking about, and I'm so glad to hear from Donna Brazille. I mean, you guys, the Democrat Party just can't catch a break here. You guys would think that you would be rounding up around the circles, but you guys are continuing to take a fall.
I am a proud Democrat.
Yeah, I don't know how you can say you're a proud one. You can be a Democrat, but I don't see how you can say you're a proud one right now, John. Well, you go ahead and keep being that Democrat. They need you right now. They need your help. They need your prayers.
I'd rather be part of Democrats than be part of them Nazis and them white supremacists.
Well, that's the home. That's the home of the Democrat Party. The white supremacists and the KKK. That's the home of the Democrat Party. Come on now. Thank you, John. I appreciate you calling in, my brother.
Take care, buddy.
All right. All right, we're going to go to Vincent next. Vincent, you're on the line.
Yes, how are you doing this afternoon, Wayne?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I think John is laughing too quick. I think he needs to just wait for the investigations to continue. And I think now is the time that, and I believe it's going to occur, they're going to end up having to do a grand, if not a grand jury, they're going to need to do a personal or investigation under Hillary Clinton. What do you call this? As they're doing on Donald Trump, this Mueller person. They're going to have to do the same thing with her now.
Right.
You remember some of the things John may not know is in those WikiLeaks discovery, and Assange declared at the time, he said since then he's willing to come to America. He's willing to attest that he did not get his information from Russia, but nobody wants to hear that. 1%. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, when she headed to DNC, as they go across the country and the DNC raises money, the money was supposed to be 50% was supposed to be left behind in the different states to be used for Democratic candidates.
Right.
Only 1% was left behind. The balance of the money raised was split between the DNC and Hillary Clinton. I don't think that that may just be illegal, even though Donna Brazille says, "Oh, they didn't do anything illegal." I'm not so sure. Let an investigation occur. And there's something else with the Clinton Foundation. Some of the WikiLeaks discovered that the Clinton Foundation paid Black Panthers. They showed the payments to Black Panthers from the Clinton Foundation to the Black Lives Matter from the Clinton Foundation. And you remember Black Lives Matters was going around stirring up problems at making conflicts at campaigns.
Wherever they could show up, wherever they could pop up, they were. And
Donald Trump.
Right.
And Bernie Sanders, but you didn't see many at her rallies disturbing her.
Right.
So we want to know, were they paid to do so? If they end up having to do an audit, a forensic audit of that Clinton Foundation, it's going to be a big exposure. And I'm going to just leave you with this. Do you remember approximately a week and a half before our general elections in November, the president of Haiti was on our national television during the news hour, on the news hour, not the local news, but the national news, that the Clinton Foundation had stolen $8 billion of the money that was raised. The Clinton Foundation had stolen this money that had been raised for the relief of their citizens, and only a few $1 million was spent. And there has been no addressing of that. These are Black people in Haiti that were disenfranchised by the Clinton Foundation. How in the world can John be laughing for the support of Hillary Clinton?
It's sad. Well, she's gonna end up being the one.
People all over the country.
If the FBI and the Justice Department is really doing their job, they're gonna start really investigating that, the Uranium One deal, and they're gonna go after the real criminals here. That's what I surely hope they do that, Vincent.
Too quick.
Mm-hmm.
I think John is in laughter too quick. Let the investigations continue. So far, and I contend if they had the evidence against Donald Trump, it would have already been proven.
That's what I say. They're going after guys that were obviously guilty of something, and in hopes that they'll give up something on Donald Trump.
They did,
right?
But it does not raise to the level that Donald
collusion
wants to Russia to take over this presidency with the help of the foreign government of Russia.
Yep.
So if they have the evidence, President Obama left office and did not produce the evidence that he laid out there to the public as he proclaimed. It's not there, else it would have already been produced.
Thank you,
now,
Vincent.
Let's see what they're uncovering about Hillary Clinton, and I'll yield to you.
Thank you, Vincent. I was going to say that, yep, let's let them see. I think the real investigation was going to go on moving forward in the Hillary Clinton investigations, whether it's with the Democrat Party or this Uranium One deal. Thank you for calling in today, Vincent. I appreciate it, sir. All right, we're going to go to JJ next. JJ, you're going to be next on the line here. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, Dwayne.
Yeah, how you doing?
For me, and I'll set you free. Rap on, brother, rap on. Keep on teaching them.
Hey, I'm trying.
Real quick, I want to talk about back a year ago, there was a video on Facebook about the Democratic Convention. And Fox News touched on it for a little bit. But the Democratic Convention wouldn't let the Bernie supporters in there. Because if you remember how rowdy it got with the Republicans, yelling, they don't want Trump, they don't want Trump. They paid people to sit in those Bernie seats, like Michigan, he won. And this girl went around videoing. And I don't know if it's true, but I think it is. Because them young Bernie supporters would have raised the roof in that Democratic Convention. You see what I'm saying? And the cameras, and if it's true, man, all the media is in on it. And we know how the media just rips on the Republican Party.
No, it's no question about it. No question about it. Could you imagine if this would have been the story on the Republican side, if Donald Trump had been convicted of, accused of rigging? And again, we don't do this because, again, a Republican Party and conservative voters, there's no way in the world they would go for a super delegate situation at conventions and things like that, where they come there and vote. You give the vote to one guy, and then 20 rich guys sitting up in the suites can come in and vote and get 10 times as much as their vote is worth more, and it doesn't matter what your vote is. I mean, it's just ridiculous that was allowed to take place in the Democrat Party in the first place. But it appears that the Clintons got exactly what they wanted. They got a victory, and then they lost again in the national election.
Right.
Yes, indeed. So,
right.
Well, Jay, hey, I appreciate you calling in today and listening to the show. Keep listening. We're going to go over some other interesting topics as we move forward today. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the local elections here in Detroit coming up too. So, thanks for listening in. I appreciate it.
Man.
All right. All right, we're going to go to Matt. Matt, he's on the line. Matt, what do you think about this Donna Brazille bomb that she dropped today?
Wayne, thanks for having me on. Just, I think it's interesting that the media and the Democrats have normalized the term collusion as a criminal act.
Right.
And collusion's not a crime. It's the conspiracy. Collusion is people talking amongst themselves, but it's a conspiracy to commit a felony,
right,
which they want to address. The only way to keep this narrative in the public sector is to continue to take advantage of the public's now calm acceptance of the term collusion, as if, ooh, that's something really bad. And
right.
It's conspiracy is what they have to prove. Mueller never said that. And these charges that have come out in this first round are very dated, specifically with some people who are connected to a campaign who profited prior to actually being associated with the campaign.
Exactly.
And this Papadopoulos guy is really sort of a rogue and interesting character. He probably has ego problems. He might even be perhaps a little bipolar. It'll be borne out later, but the fact that
this guy was a low-level guy. He was a low-level guy that was probably, unlike a lot of these consultants and stuff, they want to make a name for themselves, so they want to try to do something, and nothing ever came out of it.
Sure, they want to be associated with power.
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
idea that they somehow have influence. And
Exactly. They're selling tickets that they can't cash, and this guy never. And his problem was he lied to the FBI about it. He should have just said, "Yeah, I tried, and nothing happened," but he decided to lie. And then he tried, I guess, I don't know how far he took it, but he, again, tried to talk himself and, and get himself out of trouble by getting others in trouble, which he shouldn't have done. He should have just, if he did something wrong, fall on your sword and do the right thing,
And I think that for conservatives or Republicans, or conservatives at the very least, people who want to clarify the conversation, especially with some of these very emotional liberals and progressives, let's talk Turkey.
Right.
It's conspiracy, not collusion, folks. Collusion is discussion, right? Pictures mean nothing without context. Context means everything. The Democrats love to foster a narrative that they can normalize for people in chaos.
Right.
That's where they can take the focus off themselves and put it onto somebody else. And the media is more than happy to do this 95% of the time.
Well, I really feel like the liberal media is doing an extreme disservice to their consumer base, because it's almost like they're feeding them lies, and then they'll after they've known they're fed them these lies, when they come back when their consumer is mad because nothing's going to happen, then they're mad, and it continues to feed the same guys, keeps them running on the hamster wheel of hope. And then being mad, hope and being mad. It's nothing to see here, folks.
Failure to deliver. That's been the Democratic formula for 60 years. Feed you a bunch of crap. It gets to election time. Talk to the folks on the urban plantation. Feed them a line. Get them to vote, and then ignore them for 4 more years.
There you go.
Detroit is the quintessential example.
Poster
of the
child.
Democratic Party takes African Americans for complete and total granted. Lyndon Johnson said it himself, although he used a very crass and inflammatory term. He said, we'll have those N-words voting for us for 200 years.
Interesting that movie's coming out right now, and liberals are trying to spin the narrative of who he was. I'll tell you that.
And just remember, Rob Reiner is the producer of that movie, and he's a flaming lib.
Right.
So it's going to be a very interesting glossing over of who Lyndon Johnson really was.
Oh, well, as I said, when I saw who was making that movie, I said, well, we know this is going to be like you said, polishing a turd is what you would call that, and that's what they.
Oh my God! Yes,
there
a
you
great
go.
way to describe that, Wayne. I got to tell you. That's exactly what they're going to do.
That's exactly what they're trying to do.
People get all bent out of shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say, the Republican Party hasn't done anything. Time and time again they turn their back on the plight of black people and so on and so forth. That's such crap. Listen, the last major piece of legislation, or the trifecta of civil rights, voting rights, and affirmative action, was passed by what?
Nixon.
Republicans on all three accounts.
Yep.
And it was a Republican president who signed it into law in the 70s, Richard Nixon,
There
which
you
was
go.
affirmative action.
There you go.
So the idea that Republicans have turned their back on the movement, their commitment to look at all the amendments.
See, they just won't play the emotional game, and that's what they don't play the emotional game, and that's what Democrats have mastered. They have mastered soaking up and taking the emotion of the Democrat voter, in particular the black Democrat voter. They don't want to talk to black voters about economic independence. They don't want to talk about job creation and entrepreneurship. They want to talk about the role of government and how that role should continue to expand. And that's their biggest fear, is that when they don't, that's why you don't hear them talk about entrepreneurship at that level. They talk about maybe getting a good job. But at the end of the day, the issues that they should be talking about more, they don't. They play on the fears. They talk about police violence, which is an issue, but it's not the biggest issue that's facing the black community. So, Matt, I appreciate.
I agree more when,
that to me, that's what the things we got to talk about more. And I appreciate you for calling in, shedding some light on these
God bless,
things.
brother. Keep up the faith.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take one last call here before the break. We're going to go with Martin. Martin, you're on the line. Martin, you're on the line with Wayne Bradley. Well, I guess Martin is taking a break here himself. Martin, we'll be back. You give us a call back if you've been on hold there for a minute, but I'm hoping you can hear us. You're on the Wayne Bradley Show live on 9:10 a.m., your superstation. All right, Martin, got to go. All right. Hey, Walter, I tell you what, we're going to come back to Walter after the break, because I know me and Walter got some things to talk about. I'm not going to give Walter just 1 minute before I go to the break. So, Walter, you my guy. I can't even have you I'm not going to even give you just 1 minute. We got to spike the football today, baby. We got to spike the football for Donna Brazille. I hope Donna Brazille stays safe out here, because you cannot talk bad about the Clintons and not pay a price. I hope that she stays safe. If she magically, hurts herself or something, we know that how the Clinton campaign moves. Keep an eye on pray of the safety of Donna Brazille. So if you want to call in, we're going to talk when we come back. We're going to talk about a little bit more about the Mueller investigation, but we're going to start talking about some local issues here with the election coming up on Tuesday and all the great things that are going on here in the city of Detroit. But give us a call, 313-209-9000. You're listening to the Wayne Bradley Show here on 9:10 a.m., your superstation. We'll be back.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative political radio, giving you what you need to know.
910 a.m. Superstation is the voice of Detroit. We've got it all. The news.
There is no good options. There are no good options in North Korea. Are there any options in North Korea?
The sports.
The NFL's going to fall for this. Donald Trump just played them. He knows how to do things with the media that I don't think any other Republican been able to do.
Politics.
I think there's a behind-the-scenes rejection of things like gay marriage becoming a Supreme Court decision. I think that's just come to the fore now.
Relationships.
But is marriage even thought of? Do we honor the institution of marriage? So it's one thing to do the wedding. It's a whole nother thing to do the marriage.
Activist.
Our community is full of people who are unteachable.
910 a.m. Superstation, the voice of Detroit. If the conversation is hot and the lines are jammed, give us a try at 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601. That's 313-778-7600 or 313-778-7601.
910 Superstation is off the chisane.
910 a.m. Superstation is the voice of Detroit, and we want to hear what you have to say by any means necessary. Are you an aspiring businessman or businesswoman? Are you a great communicator, love to meet new people, and want to make a ton of money? Do you despise sitting behind a desk all day and would rather be out making money? Well, we have the opportunity for you. 910 AM Superstation is looking for new, energetic, and committed account executives. If you can make the connections, build the relationships, and close the deal, that's all you need. Call David Bangora at 586-790-3838. That's 586-790-3838. 910 AM Superstation has arrived, and we're here to stay.
But the mayor claims he's done all these things that we see that are visually different downtown and in Midtown. So why couldn't some of that money...
Kwame did the same thing. Bing did the same thing.
We're not talking about Kwame and Bing right now. We're talking about Mayor Duggan. If these things have been done, and a lot of great things have been done in the last 4 years, I think that why people feel left out is because the concentration has been isolated.
When you go to another city, do you care about the neighborhoods, or do you care about downtown that you most likely are staying in?
I care about all of it because I don't live downtown.
Maybe I see that differently.
We got the topics, the guests, the opinions, and the facts.
Coleman Young just proved the fact that he's a buffoon. This guy said, motherland? What does that to relate to? God,
Let me ask you this, David. Let me ask you this. Before the debate, were you already leaning toward Mayor Duggan as your candidate?
Yes, I was already, because I know about Coleman Young.
Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation. 910 AM Superstation. We're the hottest station in town. Why? Because when it happens, we talk about it.
Call somebody a crook long enough or often enough in the course of an hour debate, and a lot of voters will walk away believing, oh my gosh, he is a crook. And I think that was Coleman Young's strategy. He also pounded this idea that Mike Duggan is absent from the neighborhoods, that he's not out there among the people, and that he is wedded to the downtown developers, and that he spends all of his time courting those developers and worrying about downtown. And he just kept coming back and back to that. And then this idea that the neighborhoods are not getting what they deserve in terms of Detroit's comeback. And, those were the themes Coleman Young pushed. I thought he kept Mike Duggan on his toes a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
910 AM Superstation, the best, the brightest, and the bravest voices of Detroit. 910 AM Superstation gives you the flip side, the real side. This is our side. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station. You're listening to 910 AM Superstation, Detroit's only urban talk radio station.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative political radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative.
And we're back live on 910 AM, your Superstation. Welcome to the Wayne Bradley Show, moving here into the second hour. Before we go into talking some about the local politics, and doing it for the motherland, we're going to go to my friend Walter, who's been waiting on the line. Like I said, I wasn't going to give Walter only 1 minute before the break. Walter, welcome to the show.
That's right. Your favorite humdinger gunslinger Negro is back, man. Known as the other conservative.
My brother, what's going on, Walter? What did you think of Donna Brazille's revelations today on that ABC News interview when she said that she was much maligned, wasn't able to execute and do her job effectively as the chairman of the party? And this is for the Democrat Party that would not allow this black woman, this sister, because, she was mad today in that interview. That sounded like a sister that's mad that they pushed her on that one. She told them to shut the hell up, is her exact words. I was surprised. I was shocked.
I hope that I've seen Donna Brazille time after time on those Sunday morning news shows, who's flat out liberal like the rest of them.
Yes, she is.
And she promoted Barack Insane Osama, known as Barack Ali Omar Obama, just like the rest of them, faithfully.
Yes,
and she lied for Barack Obama like the rest of them. I hope this incident is waking her up that her party that she vote for and that she promote is flat out satanic, racist, and all the hell on earth they are. They were birthed out of hell, and I hope she's slowly but surely waking up, because I heard she was a born-again Christian.
Well,
and how are you in your right mind if you claim to be a born-again Christian? I don't care what color you are.
Right.
vote for the policies of a demonic Democrat Party who promotes murdering babies by the millions, mostly black babies, that is, who promote anti-gun, so they can take our guns away from us and have mass slaughters and mass murders that come from the Democratic Party.
Right.
Anti-business, high taxes, and they're not for Donald tax. Donald, how many times have they lied through their rotten teeth saying that this tax plan is going to benefit the rich? Oh, they love to play that lying card there. How many times have everybody spelled out that it's going to benefit everybody? And by the way, if you broke, busted, and disgusted and poor, the working poor, the poor, you ain't going to be paying no federal taxes in the first place.
Right.
You're going to get child tax credit. The Democratic Party is not for lowering taxes. They for making your life miserable. Lying to you. They promote food banks, the blood bank. And under Barack Obama, more people record numbers of people move right back to their parents' houses. Grown people. And John got a nerve, the audacity. He calls here. He wouldn't know a good politician if God dropped him out of the clouds on top of his head. Because John promoted, he said that Hillary, before she got in, and it made him out of a liar, too, and a lot of talk show hosts on the station, made them out of liars. They're embarrassed. They thinking somehow they can still get a last-minute lie out on Donald Trump and get a last-minute Hail Mary.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
That's it. They're going to happen. And they predicted, brother, Wayne, they predicted John was one of those false prophecy guys. That's right. I hope you listen, John. They're predicting Hillary, she going to win by a landslide.
Now, and I got Walter, before we get off the air, I got to bring up this, like how you were saying, promoting abortion. I want to give this tweet real quick that Planned Parenthood from their Twitter account, the PP Black Community. Listen to this quote. It says, "If you're a black woman in America, it's statistically safer to have an abortion than to carry a pregnancy to term or give birth." Scary stats. That's what Planned Parenthood is sending out here for the black community. And I will never get how these black pastors will they will, like, just how we got this marijuana dispensary stuff coming up. They will go out and protest this stuff every day. They will protest strip clubs. But they will stand quietly with Planned Parenthood and their eugenics model of what they think how black people need to take care of their community by having abortions, and actually sending out tweets encouraging it by saying, if you're a black woman in America, it's statistically safer to have an abortion than to carry a pregnancy to term or give birth. That's disgusting. That's disgusting, Walter.
NAACP,
yep,
including and the Black Caucus, fellows, co-fellows with Jesse Where's the Camera Jackson and Al Shriveled Up Sharpton, all race baiters, all race pimps. And speaking of mayoral race, I believe that Duggan's going to win.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And when he wins Tuesday, he's going to shut Mongo's big mouth up for being a continuous liar and race pimp that he is. His program is a waste of time. He needs to be reduced down to minus 1 million. And by the way, I give Mongo and Cliff Russell them, this is my ratings for their show. And one of the worst ones is gone, Steve Brotherhood. You took his place. God bless you. But this is my rating. On the
Come on, Walter.
You know what I give them? Hey, you know what I give them on the scale? Every last one of them I mentioned, and a few others I haven't thrown in.
Right.
Some of them are gone. Some of them, one of their hours been reduced. Mr. Reverend, who plays the race card all the time. And this is what I give them. On a scale of 0 to 10, guess what you think? I'll let you guess.
Nah, Walter, you go ahead and guess that. I'm not gonna take a stab at that.
Okay, I hope you're listening to Cliff Race Pimp Russell, who lies on white people every day, because you can't stand him. You too, Mongo.
What about my boy Bullock? What you think about Bullock, Walter?
Bullock. Only thing I give Bullock for his credit is let me stay on a little bit longer. But when I tell it like it is, he cut me short. But he let all those black communists, they call the station, stay on forever talking about nothing. When they lie on Donald Trump, he let them stay on forever. So I give Bullock on a scale of 0 to 10, minus 1,000. The rest of them, Cliff Russell, and the other guy, Mongo from the Congo, I give him a minus 2 billion.
All right, Walter.
A minus 3 billion.
Well, thank you, Walter, for calling in, brother. I always enjoy you calling into my show, my brother. So I appreciate you calling in. And we're going to go. I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you listening in today. We're going to go to Martin. Martin's on the line. Martin, thanks for calling in today.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. You know, I wanted to ask you, being a conservative and being obviously black,
yep,
are you allowed at the table with other blacks? I mean, I just had to ask.
Am I allowed at the table? I mean, I go anywhere I want to go. I don't find if I'm not in if it's. I tell you this: if I'm not at the table somewhere, it's I'm not aware of that. But in the real, when we're talking business, because that's what I'm about. Just because I'm a Republican doesn't mean I won't sit down with other folks. It's about doing the work for the community. That's my whole thing. The reason why I push being a Republican is because we need that kind of political leverage in the black community. We have none. We've put it all in the hands of the Democrat Party, and you see what they think about us. They won't even let Donna Brazille run the party.
This is an interesting turn of events, but Debbie Wasserman Schultz resigned at the Democratic convention because of all this stuff. So I don't know why everyone's acting like this is such a surprise. The only Russians involved in the election happened to be Democrats. I'm just saying, what is wrong with people when something so precious as our voting is in peril?
Right.
That means our country is in peril. It isn't the Russians. The Russians had nothing. No one put anyone. Look at. I'm an extreme conservative. One of my good friends, Malik Shabazz, as I heard, he's not allowed at the table with other blacks just because he supports Duggan. And let me rest assure you, I don't agree with.
Well, I'll tell you this: any table that he's not allowed to because he supports Duggan, that's got to be a joke. And I know what you're talking about. There's some groups out here, these pro-black groups and all that stuff. But Malik Shabazz has been going places for years that a lot of those so-called guys don't want any part of that action. So I might not agree with Malik Shabazz on a lot of stuff, but I don't question his determination to bring some good to the community on certain issues. There's no question about that.
I agree with you. And you know what I wanted to say is, how do blacks support the Democratic Party? I'm just asking.
I don't know. I don't see it. I don't
support Margaret Sanger's Planned Parenthood and genocide on undesirables.
Take it back to the eugenics, the era of eugenics.
Unions, the Democratic Party, the Democratic Black Caucus, the Senatorial Caucus. They put 8 out of 10 Planned Parenthoods in every urban area in the United States. 6% of the population is made up of African Americans, yet they're getting 49% of the abortions.
Right.
And
something seriously wrong with that number that people don't see the problem in that. I just don't get it. If you took that same number and applied it to how many black people are getting arrested or how many black people are going to jail for this crime compared to anybody else, the NAACP would be up in arms. I don't see how they don't take this issue of abortion. And that's always been another one of my issues of why I became a conservative. I don't talk about it every day because I believe there are other issues that impact our community, but I don't understand how the tweets like I just tweeted out from Planned Parenthood, where they're actually tweeting out, if you're a black woman in America, it's statistically safer to have an abortion than to carry a pregnancy to term or give birth. That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
I'm just it's amazing. Look at, I've been across this whole country. There's no mistaking that the black community is obviously affected by what a term Dr. Bullock might use as white supremacy. I actually believe a better context and words could be used for actual dialogue,
right,
such as elitism. Most blacks are in control of these areas in all these urban cities.
Right.
Where's their accountability? Where is any tax reform that's helped any poor? And to be honest, by either of the two parties, to be honest with you. I'm a conservative. It is what it is. Conservatives, we fight. We bicker with each other.
Right.
We're at odds ends with each other, and this is what's good about our party.
Oh, I agree. Like I said, they would never. Could you imagine having super delegates at the RNC convention? Those guys would be a fear of their lives in the RNC party with that kind of. That would never happen.
Can I throw this at you here?
Go ahead.
The Republican Party had a woman, 2 Hispanics, and a black man running for president.
Right.
Now the Democrats, on the other hand, what most notably known as, Martin O'Malley, Bernie Sanders, and Hillary Clinton. But there were 2 other legitimate candidates running in that campaign. One was a Hispanic businessman out of San Diego,
right.
Rocky De La Fuente, almost a billionaire. And then you had Willie Wilson working out of Chicago, who was a black man.
Right.
And I just want to let people's attention at the Black and Brown Forum. I was there in person. The only Hispanic and the only black man they weren't even allowed to speak. It was Clinton, O'Malley, and Bernie Sanders.
They continue to take the minorities for granted, Martin. It's because they know they're going to have to vote. They believe that, in particular, the black community, they're going to vote for whoever they put on the ticket.
It should be known in political terms if either an Hispanic or black man cumulatively would have gotten 15% of the vote cumulatively, or one hitting the threshold of 15 at the minimum to allow him into the debates, it would have surely led to Bernie Sanders statistically losing. Right. Outside of that, you had the Green Party. Right. You had the Libertarian Party that took millions of votes. Now, if you took away just the Green Party votes, Hillary Clinton wins Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. I'm just saying I've looked at the statistics. I don't talk rhetoric.
Right.
I'm a conservative, yes, but I'm at odds ends with my own party.
Fair enough.
I listened to the news this morning. Donald Trump's at 37 to 40% approval rating. We're going to believe this by the same media that said Donald Trump.
Well, I have stopped listening to the media, in terms of that fake news, because those are the exact same people that Donald Trump said he wasn't going to win the election on election night.
Look, they have had five special elections since Donald Trump has been elected. He endorsed all 5 candidates, and mysteriously, even in Georgia, the Democrats put up $30 million, which was
they still can't win.
Race in the United States history, and lost. The Republicans have won 5 elections since Donald Trump has been elected. So I wonder, where is all the detraction at? His base is emboldened
by every move he makes. Hey, Martin,
arguing and fighting.
You called it right there, Martin. I appreciate you for calling in today. That you're exactly right. Trump people. Thank you. I appreciate you for listening in today too. And I'll clear up. I'm going to go follow up exactly what Martin said. The Trump people are emboldened. They're not backing down off of Trump. Now, there might be some other folks that were never totally on board, but overall, Trump has 80% approval from Republicans. So I don't know where they're getting these numbers from. Must be the exact same people they polled to say that Trump was going to lose the election. So don't take those numbers serious. Give us a call, 313-209-9000. We're going to take some more calls here. We're going to go to Jalen on the line. Jalen, thanks for calling in.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, how you doing, sir?
Blessed by the best. Thank you for asking. And before I get into my main comment, I want to comment about the last 2 callers. One was Walter drinking on that moonshine, losing his mind. That's all he does. He sounds like he's drinking moonshine. Sound like some type of.
Sounds like he's enjoying his Sunday as a free-loving American conservative.
Talking madness as usual. Stop the moonshine, Walter, and to Martin, bro, you got issues, man. I can't believe. Why would you even let this guy get on there and just ramble about a bunch of stuff on top of a bunch of stuff that doesn't even connect and make sense? And then secondly, Martin, don't you worry about another race. Don't you go and worry about some Asians or some Hispanics and stop being trying to be all up in black people's business and trying to tell us how to run our community and trying to act like you know more, know better, know this or that. You're way too concerned. I think you need to take a chill pill, Martin. Now, let's go to Democrats and Republicans. Now, in the history, I don't think there's been more Republicans and Democrats against one president, which is Trump. And you got a lot of.
Even Jimmy Carter said as much. I mean, even if you got Jimmy Carter agreeing with you, that tells you how bad they're going after the Donald Trump.
And they need to get him. Because you know why? I think the guy's kind of bad luck, if you ask me. Because here's the thing. As soon as he gets in office, all of this stuff it's just too much turmoil going on. He might be bad luck. But let me go to this. George W. Bush.
Okay.
George W. Bush even came out and spoke against Trump, said this guy doesn't even know what it means to be a president. So basically what's going to probably happen is the past presidents, they're going to put the pressure on Trump as well for him to get impeached. I mean, here's the thing. If the guy can play nice, if he knows how to act like he has some sense with playing with the national, the international community and working with Korea properly instead of giving them death threats and crazy crap like that, maybe he can stay in for a couple more other years. But the way it's going now, he's just too willy-nilly, wacky, tobacco type of stuff. And he's talking to, people and other nations that we need to most definitely make sure we keep the peace because we don't want to, set nothing off. So to make a long story short, Trump is just not the right person right now to deal with all of these international individuals. So that's why I'm for impeachment of him. And like I said, and now let's go.
Well, that's not going to happen, Jalen. I mean, couldn't you just? I understand you might feel that way, but do you honestly think that he's going to be impeached?
Yeah, why not? Because we're not even in the. It hasn't even been a year.
Well, this is because, again, he's trying to drain the swamp. He's trying to stop what's going on in D.C., and these guys are doing their best to stop him from making progress on that.
Yeah, can I finish?
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't been a year, and all of these scandals and all of this is moving and grooving and popping up. All type of things is just playing itself out. So I think he's going to get impeached, and he's not above being impeached. Nixon wasn't. I mean,
he will not. All right, Jalen, I'm going to go to my next caller. He will not. My prediction is he will not be impeached, Jalen.
My thing is this. Nixon needs somebody to be in history with him. Nixon.
Oh, all right. Well, hopefully it will be. I'm looking forward to what the investigation leads to with the Hillary Clinton team. So no way, Jalen. Thanks again for calling in, my brother. All right, we're gonna go to Clarissa. Clarissa, thank you for calling in to the Wayne Bradley Show.
Hey, Wayne, how's it going?
I'm all right. Thank you for calling in today. What do you think about all this corruption that's going on in the Democrat Party right now?
Oh, well, Wayne, look, now I'm an independent. So As an independent, of course, I supported Bernie Sanders 100%. And so when I was talking to my friends and things like that of what they thought about what was going on with Bernie, we all came to the same conclusion. So we knew that there was corruption in the party, and we were told to be quiet, essentially, because, we were just being sore losers. So I just think that it's so funny that we have a year later everything kind of coming out, and we already knew that something corrupt. We didn't know exactly what it was, but we kind of had an idea that this is exactly what was going on in the DNC, which is why people feel like their votes really don't matter.
Well, it's really a shame to see what happened here. And the fact that, again, I don't think this is really news to a lot of people. We realize that something wasn't right with the way that Bernie was beaten by Hillary Clinton because there was no enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton. I didn't know any Democrats that were enthused. Maybe they supported her, but there was none of that. The enthusiasm was for Bernie Sanders. It wasn't even close.
Right, and that was the biggest thing because everybody knew that Hillary was corrupt, and so it's kind of crazy now that, we have people that are still saying, oh, well, there was nothing corrupt that's happening. I still have people on my Facebook that say that. And it's like, really, like, you have the head of the DNC coming out with an interview saying, look, she was supporting the campaign, or she was supporting the DNC with her campaign, so that was the reason why she got the nomination. You still have people that are like, it's a joke.
Clarissa, I got one last question for you before I go to the next caller. Do you think there should be any kind of investigation into the Hillary Clinton team, whether it's through the campaign or any of these deals they made during the time when she's Secretary of State with the uranium deals?
Oh, absolutely. We wanted her investigated when she was campaigning. There were so many different things that was coming out that we were just like, something's not sitting right. So if there's not an investigation, I think that's a huge issue. But, there was one thing I did want to talk to you about, and that was the statistics that you put out on the Twitter for the Planned Parenthood.
They put that out. I didn't put that out. They put that out.
Well, no, I'm saying like on your radio. You called them out on it, and I just want to ask a question because we typically talk about how the news spins things to make you feel one way or another.
Right.
And I feel like it's that way on both sides. I don't think that it just happens on one side or the other.
Right.
With the Planned Parenthood, the way that I took that tweet, it was the fact that our healthcare system is so terrible right now, especially for the minority woman, that it is safer statistically to have an abortion than to actually have the child. Now, I didn't necessarily think that was them going, hey, black women go have abortions.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Calling out the healthcare system.
They should have been a little clearer on that. I think that they should have definitely been a little clearer. If they wanted to attack the state of healthcare, then I think you say that we have a poor health care system. You don't just throw the number out there.
I agree with you, but when you're tweeting things and you only have a certain amount of characters, you want something that's going to draw the attention of people. So that drew your attention. You're like, hey, no, what abortion?
Yeah, it drew my attention so I can respond to him.
Like, what is this?
The only attention they're going to draw from me is to be trolled by Wayne Bradley on Twitter. That didn't get the attention they should have got from me. So, but hey, Clarissa.
No, and I respect that, Wayne, but I just wanted to throw that out there because I really do think we should look at it a little differently.
Well, I think that Planned Parenthood ought to put it out there a little differently, but I do appreciate you for calling in and giving us your insight on both Bernie Sanders and your somewhat lukewarm defense of this Planned Parenthood tweet. All right, we're going to go to Minister. The Minister is on the line.
Yes, Wayne.
Yes, sir.
I talked to you the other day,
mm-hmm.
and you guys I'm going to bring a rebuttal. Walter made a comment, called my church Obama. No. Listen, I never voted for President Obama.
He called your church?
But he said, I talked to you the other day on Cliff Russell's program.
Okay.
And I am a conservative.
Right.
I believe in strong morality. I believe in minimal taxes and a strong military, the 3 M's. Okay? Now, I do know the history of Margaret Singer.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely the genocide. Crippled people, poor people, ethnic group people, and that is murder. Margaret Singer, Planned Parenthood, it's murder, period.
There we go.
Make it very clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister.
I made a statement. I left the Republican Party 9 months ago. And the reason why I left that, I flow with all these big names. If I mention some of the ministers that I flow with, white evangelicals and the big black name ministers, it blow your mind.
Right.
A lot of the white I could mention one man, the very famous one from down south. He rebuked President Trump because of his racism, because of the Charlottesville thing.
Right.
And listen, this is not a thing of left, right. This is not a thing left versus right or right versus left. This is a thing right versus wrong. And here's what happens. According to Micah 6:8, he will show the old man what is good, to do justly, to love mercy, and walk humbly with thy God. Mm-hmm. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. Makes no difference, Republican, liberal, Democrat, or conservative, or libertarian. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong.
Right.
I have to take that stand as a minister.
I understand.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so when I teach my church, what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong.
All right.
I'm coming from a biblical perspective. And so the thing is, we see there are black ministers and white ministers, some very famous ministers, who've been praying with President Trump in the White House.
Right.
He's a gamer. The man knows how to do. Yes, you made a statement. He knows how to play TV. He knows how to play pop. He was on the apprenticeship for over 13 years.
Right.
He's played the game, man. He knows how to play the game. And the other problem I had with him, I followed him since 1982 when he had the football team. The man has been divorced about three times, had a fear. Give me a break, man.
Well, Minister.
I left the Republican Party. If the Republican Party, this is the best you could come up with, and you're supposed to be the party of the family values, guess what? It's hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy. So what's right is right, Democrat, Republican, or liberal, or conservative. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. That's what I'm going to say.
All right, thank you, Minister. I gotta get through all these calls here. I appreciate you calling in here. We're gonna go to Darren. Darren, thanks for calling into the Wayne Bradley Show.
And here I go.
Hey, Darren.
Yes, how you doing today?
All right, how you doing? You're live on the Wayne Bradley Show.
I'm doing great. Yes, I have a comment. I'm just calling because I was just listening to your program, and I just heard the last person that was on your program, and he spoke about Reverend Bullock and some of the other hosts that be on 910. And my question,
you got to turn your radio down in the background, my brother.
The black Republicans in the city of Detroit. I'm clueless as to what black Republicans have done for any of the citizens of Detroit.
Well, let's be clear here. Just this week, we were trying to helping get that insurance bill reformed, insurance reformed, and your own Detroit caucus voted against some of that, Darren. And so, Darren, in general, Republicans have also been working hard to get the driver responsibility fees waived, worked on school choice issues, working to improve the access into skilled trades and access. So, yeah, they have done, and criminal justice reform, Darren. So while you might question that, again, the Democrat, you should be asking if the party you support and what they've done for you. But we're working hard. Believe that. And I do appreciate you calling in today, Darren. We got a lot of calls here still on this list, and we're trying to get to some of these local issues. But I do appreciate you calling. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish up. We got 1 minute left here, Darren. Go ahead. Oh, Darren hung up there. All right, we got. We're gonna go to Joanne. Joanne,
yes.
thank you.
Hi, Wayne.
Hey, how are you doing?
Thanks for taking my call. Okay. Talking about Trump and drain the swamp, I know people who were Bernie supporters that ended up voting for Trump. I was a Bernie supporter. I did not vote for Trump. I did not vote for Hillary. But so I wanted to know what you think, because, President Trump did raise a lot of points, or good points in terms of what have the Democrats done for people, and there's a lot of disillusionment amongst Democrats right now. But let's take a look at some other Democrats. So what if Mike Duggan was involved in bid rigging? And so do you think that Trump has the fortitude to go through with an indictment, or do you think he may possibly get special treatment? Because I'm a little concerned, given that I hear Mr. Gilbert gave so much money to Trump's inauguration.
I don't know. I think those are all three totally separate different issues. I think if Duggan has done some sort of bid rigging himself, then yes, he would have to be tried just like anyone else would. The question is, has he actually done that, or is it someone around him that took the initiative to do that? I don't know, but I see no evidence right now that you can tie directly into Mike Duggan, and I think that's the critical issue people need to be asking themselves. But that's a fair question, Joanne. I don't know how it connects the dots through Trump and. I got a question for you. Yeah, go ahead.
Wayne,
got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Did you watch Shirley LaDuff's interviews? Did you watch the mayor answer those questions, or actually dodged some of the questions?
Well, I would dodge any questions that Charlie LaDuff was trying to catch me walking out the door of, so I'm not mad at that. Charlie LaDuff is a tough interview, and he has some good information on him. So, Joanne, I got to go run to the break here. If you want to call back in, I'll be back in after the break. You're listening to the Wayne Bradley Show here on 910 a.m., your superstation. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about these local politics. We've been hammering in on the national issues, but we're going to talk about this mayoral race coming up here in Detroit on Tuesday. Thanks for listening in for the Wayne Bradley Show.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative political radio. Giving you what you need to know. Listen up. It's the Wayne Bradley Show.
910 AM Superstation is in a league of its own. We are the only talk radio station in the Metro Detroit area sensitive to the African American community.
Make sure you join us on what station?
910 AM, the Superstation.
910 AM.
910 AM. On 910 AM Superstation.
910 AM Superstation, Metro Detroit's only African American based talk radio station. If you want to hear the voices of Detroit, look no further than 910 AM Superstation.
Just because you've had prostate cancer and you've had the surgery doesn't mean you don't have sex anymore. A lot of black men would rather die with a smile on their face. Come on, let's be for real. And don't have it. I know some people who did not have it and are dead because they were more concerned about being able to maintain sexual function than life function.
But I've heard people say that extramarital affairs have saved marriages, or that it saves marriages. It keeps people married because being with the same person day in and day out, night after night, day after day, can become mundane and boring. Yes, it can be. That's why it's so important that you really learn. You have to consciously make the choice and the decision to do things to keep your home fires burning.
910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. Every weeknight at 9 p.m. is something new and something fresh.
This is Todd Corser, and I want you to check out my show. Listen in and call every week as we explore government and hot topics. Tune in, raw and uncut.
This is attorney Michael Schwartz at 910 AM Superstation, and you can hear me every Tuesday night starting at 9 p.m.
Hello, Detroit. This is attorney Crystal Crittenden, and please tune in to my new show, The Truth Matters, on 910 AM Superstation.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Mitchell, your host of Mind Your Business. Listen to my show live every Thursday from 9 to 11 p.m.
I'm Reverend Maya Lisa Reynolds, inviting you to listen to Mama Maya Speaks Friday evenings from 9 until 11 p.m., discussing education, motivation, and inspiration on Superstation 910 AM.
Different names, different voices, but the same energy. 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. 910 AM Superstation, giving you exactly what you need. Thank you for calling 910 AM Superstation. What's your question or comment?
Mario, what was your take?
I have a feeling that most people watched the first part of that debate and said, let me go watch Mr. Verlander pitch a couple innings. Because I was disappointed in Mike Duggan, because Mike has been known to be a master debater, and he didn't deliver those solid punches that I thought he was going to deliver. And I was disappointed in Senator Young for the simple fact that he inserted race from the beginning, he inserted race in the middle, and he closed with this race-baiting take back to motherland thing, which I thought was totally out of place, inappropriate for someone who was behind in the polls and wanted to deliver and convince people that he had a solid plan of action to move the city to the next level.
Call in and chime in on the conversation. Take down the number and lock us in your speed dial. It's 313-209-9000. That's 313-209-9000. Don't miss the best day party in town every Saturday at 4 p.m. on 910 AM Superstation with Chuck Bennett.
If I meet 2 people at each party, that's 10 people every week that I meet. At the end of the year, that's 520 people at parties.
Right.
That's a lot of names to remember.
That is.
But now, so then I get somebody who comes up to me and says, "Hi, Chuck, do you remember me?" All right, you do the math.
Saturdays at 4 p.m. only on 910 AM Superstation.
It's the Wayne Bradley Show, conservative political radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show.
And welcome back to the Wayne Bradley Show, live on 910 AM, your Superstation. We've talked so much today about these national politics. We got to spend these last half hour or so talking about the local politics and the issues of the day here in Detroit. And obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about Coleman Young versus Mike Duggan. Now, I'm going to say a couple things here that might be somewhat controversial, but let's just call it what it is. Coleman Young is not going to win this election. Probably won't be very close. Maybe he'll get 25% of the vote. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people pushed him to run and ended up not supporting him at the end. Mungo and these guys who was, I don't know how that's working out because this guy's not raising any money. And I know that man costs. He's run a lackluster campaign. He's relied on insults and making it a black versus white thing in a city where most of the black people here voted for Mayor Duggan before. He just hasn't run a good race. I'm going to give you some interesting statistics from that election because I think it just shows you the challenges that Coleman Young had running against Mike Duggan in the first place. I don't understand it. And let me give you something right here. It's worth pointing out today that there's any talk about this. He lost the primary vote totals to Duggan in the precincts he represents in Lansing, as well as in the precinct where he resides to Duggan. He didn't win any of the poorest precincts in Detroit, but his campaign, again, is running on trying to win the poor vote. So maybe his message is not resonating. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play this last commercial or YouTube clip that Coleman Young is pushing around here online. Let's go to that. Let's go to that clip.
I think there are many whites who act friendly toward Negroes. A fox acts friendly toward the lamb. And usually the fox is the one who ends up with the lamb chop on his plate. The wolf doesn't act friendly, and therefore the wolf has more difficulty in getting the lamb chop in his plate.
I'd like to point out, though, that...
I say that because it is usually if you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro, who actually differs from the white conservative in the same way that the fox differs from the wolf. Their appetite is the same. Their motives are the same. It's only their mannerisms and methods that differ. I'm suspicious of whites who join Negroes and always have to be in the lead, who always have to be the head, who always have to be at the top in Negro organizations. Those whites who really have the interest of blacks at heart, let them give some advice to some Negroes and stand on the sideline. But don't join the organization and then get at the head of it and pose as a friend of Negroes.
Well, I would defend his sincerity and his commitment. And more than that, I would say that just because a person is a Negro or a black American does not mean that he's going to struggle for Negro rights or for jobs for Negroes or anything else. I think that today you could point to a large number of Negro leaders who have consistently betrayed Negroes in a whole host of areas.
They aren't really Negro leaders. These are puppets that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. These are parrots that have been put in front of the Negro community by white liberals. You can't name me a Negro leader who has been betrayed Negroes, who has not been endorsed, sanctioned, subsidized, and supported by the white liberals.
All right. Well, that's, again, I'll make clarification. That is not from the campaign itself, but this is the kind of stuff that's floating around out here to voters, is being pushed around. And it's just not constructive criticism to only just say that you're the black man in the race. It's like a losing message at this point. We get it. Coleman Young is the black guy and Duggan is the white guy. What are your solutions? A lot of these guys they get credit for pointing out the problems, but never for the solutions. I'll give you one more example before we get into this, some of these callers with people calling in. How is it that we lost the insurance bill with all these Democrats from Detroit that voted no on the bill? The people that are most affected by these bills, they started talking about redlining. And I'm not going to call out people on here personally because I know some of them, and I'm not trying. I understand the lobbying and the people that are pushing this message. But you had a bill in front of you that would have lowered the insurance rates for everyone in Michigan, including Detroiters. And instead of voting yes on that and taking a big chunk out of the elephant that day, they start talking about redlining. Which redlining, let's be clear, redlining means that you can't get insurance. You can't get a loan. Redlining is used in the terms of getting a loan, usually, for a mortgage on your house. Not insurance, because you know what? You can get insurance. It's just not affordable. They're not redlining you. There is more risk in certain areas in Detroit. We get that. But the idea is that the real scheme is the way you are treated with your health care and the way it turns. If you go into a hospital tomorrow, the first thing they ask you, were you in an auto accident? And the reason why is because they get to make a lot more money off you if you were in an auto accident. And we had to change how we're doing that in Michigan. I'm going to bring Tom Leonard on here one day. He was at my office last week, and it really opened my eyes up on that. But we were just, again, Democrats continue to let down their own community here, and Coleman Young just doesn't have anything to offer. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he would have been great on city council. He could have been a thorn in the side of Duggan for the next couple of years and learned how to run the city if that's what he was serious about doing. But that's not what he wants to do. He wants to be a social justice warrior, and I support that 100%. He's not going to be Coleman Young. All right, we're going to go to Andrew, who's been waiting on the line patiently here. Andrew, thank you for waiting on the line. Andrew, you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you for calling in.
Yes, I wanted to get in on the national and just a quickie on the local.
Okay.
Both parties, as far as I'm concerned, are not doing that great of a job.
Mm-hmm.
I just think a lot of us, we get goofed up. But on the DNC and the Hillary and the Bernie, I think what a lot of people are missing, and I'm sure you're aware of it, that first of all, Hillary ran as a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
DNC had some obligations. Bernie is independent. DNC has no obligations to him at all. So I'm not buying that.
He ran as a Democrat, though.
No, but he said he was independent, and he was independent. He said it.
So you're willing to defend the actions of the Democrat Party shutting Bernie out, even though all these young Democrats and people that were interested in Bernie Sanders, the fact that he said that he was independent now, and the fact
he
that
said he's independent then.
Listen, but he ran as a Democrat. You can't pick and choose when you want to say he was a Democrat. He ran as a Democrat. The lines are going to,
And he lost. He ran as an independent, sir. Please trust us. He ran as an independent.
Well, okay, I see, Andrew, you will defend the corruption of Hillary Clinton.
We're going to, if you think it's corruption, but he has always, and he ran as an independent. But anyway, what I want to really get to, when I look at what's going on in the country, and I both parties, and you know I'm about nothing. When I look at what's going on, there are no more statesmen. We're not doing what's best for the country. We're doing what's best for the party. Lyndon Johnson was the latest one that I can think of that did anything that was country.
He did stuff that was for the. He actually said when he passed the civil rights bill that he would have N-words voting Democrat the next 200 years. That was totally political with Lyndon.
That's what I'm agreeing to. But he could have not pushed that, knowing what was going to happen to the Democratic Party. So to me, he did something for the country, not necessarily for the Democratic Party. I think he hurt the Democratic Party to a certain extent.
That's some twisted logic, Andrew. Well, I appreciate. Listen, I've got 10 callers here rounding out the hour. Let's go through. Folks, be patient with me today. We're going to go through all these callers. I'm only going to be able to get you in a minute here with each person because we've got 10 callers lined up. So we're going to try our best to go through them all here. I'm going to go to my guy Eric on the line. Eric, thanks for waiting on the call here.
Hey, what's happening, Wayne?
How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing all right. And, let me make it very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Hell will freeze over before Coleman Young win on Tuesday. People kill me with this crap about voting for a black person. I have no problem with voting for a black person. It has to be the right black person.
There you go.
I'm not going to vote for someone just because of the color of their skin. Detroit, if the best that they could do in Detroit is to come up with Coleman Young as the contender, that tells you that the leadership team in Detroit is close to empty, if not empty altogether.
There you
go.
There
are some people in the future that they might want to think about. Dennis Archer Jr., Bill Noakes, Denise Mitchell-Ford, Faye Nelson, Jill Ford, who's already a part of the Belgian campaign, even yourself. I mean, people want to rally on you because you're a conservative, and they fail to realize they go on the street corner, do a 360, and they will see that the Democratic Party has failed them.
Right.
And when a person, this goes back to the Gore campaign. If you cannot win your own state, you don't deserve to be president of this country. If you cannot win the district that you serve currently in the state senate, you cannot win the precinct where you live presently, you don't deserve to be mayor of the city.
There you go.
So come on, people, wake up.
Thank you, Eric, for calling in. I appreciate it, brother. All right, we're going to go to Joanne. Joanne, I got you back. We got to go quick here. Thanks for listening to the Wayne Bradley Show.
Yeah, hey, it's me again. I just wanted to point out that so much of the media, other than Charlie LaDuff and Steve Niebling, they're not willing to look at the land bank issue. So I don't know if that's because you don't know very much about the land bank or people just don't want to go there. But I go to a lot of their board meetings, and I live in a neighborhood that is very, very impacted by what the land bank does.
Okay.
And there's a lot of other stuff that should be investigated, and if it isn't illegal, there's definitely a lot of morally corrupt things that they do, such as giving 50% discount on land bank auction properties to city employees, contract employees, retirees, and their parents, siblings, and children, and yet there's no requirement to live in the house.
Interesting.
And so
I
got up $120,000 off a land bank auction property, and yet we shut people's water off for less than $325 and foreclose on little old ladies' for $6,000 or less. So it's really kind of sick what's going on. There are a lot of equity issues in this city that I see, and Duggan he's not willing to go face the people, yet he wants our vote as mayor. And so, yeah, so, you know, I don't think that Coleman Young is running just based on color.
Well, that's all he's offering as a solution. That's his problem, Joanne. I got to go to my next caller, but I do appreciate that.
So let me say something.
Go ahead.
He proposed something that Duggan hasn't proposed, and that is to do a program like in San Francisco, where I've lived before, but they implemented it after I left. But they have a program called Healthy San Francisco, where they try to get everybody, all the residents of San Francisco, covered by health care. And I think that's a very progressive idea. I haven't heard that coming out of Mike Duggan. In fact, it's my understanding that Mike Duggan was instrumental in privatizing the Detroit Medical Center, where I had to go get a nerve test after I was in a car that got struck by somebody else.
Thank you, Joanne. I got to go I got too many callers here. I do appreciate you calling in. We got to go to we're going to go to Bayre. Bayre, sorry about that for taking so long. We got to go to your call. Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, first of all, Wayne. Let me give my high power. I have a high power all the thought over me and them and those that know they had effective trust in him and follow the truth in the way the world needs to be done. Wayne, let me say this here to you. I hear you, I heard you, and I'm going to listen to you, and I'm going to continue to listen to you. I love what you're doing. I love what Brother Bullock is doing.
All right.
If it don't be with two brothers like you and him, we will never come to an understanding to know what right and wrong stands for. And the key to all of that is, no matter what we do, long as your heart, your soul, and your spirit is for all the people, not just for one of the people, not for just money, but for the people. And I'm saying that to say, people say money is power, which it is. But the people is power over all the money, because if you don't have the people, the money ain't gonna do you no good. I'm saying that to say, let your heart be your guide. Stick to what the truth is, and straight down the middle, it's gonna fall where it's supposed to fall. And I'm not being divisive, and I'm not being precise. The reason why I'm saying that, when you know that there's a higher power, and you know that the higher power stands for the righteousness, matter how much one will bicker, no matter how much one may think or choose to think that they're right.
Well, thank you, Bayre, for calling in today on that, brother. I appreciate that uplifting message. All right, we're going to go next to Ken. Ken's on the line. Ken, thank you for calling in.
Hey, good afternoon, Wayne. You said Coleman's not qualified, or he's not bringing nothing to the table, correct?
I don't in comparison to Mike Duggan, I don't see what he's bringing. What's he bringing? Correct me. We got 1 minute apiece. Go ahead.
All right. He said that our insurance is supposed to be 2% of our income. That's hell of a. So that means they've been running.
Who makes that rule? Who makes the rule that it should be 2%, though? That sounds good, but who makes that rule?
The insurance company.
I've never heard of that, but okay, that's what he said. That's what Coleman Young said, right? Because I've never heard of.
Correct.
Yeah, they don't make their determination based off your income. Are you talking about health insurance, or are you talking about car insurance?
Car insurance.
Yeah, I can tell you that they could care less about how much money you make. They're more worried about the value of the car.
You do got good common sense. Why is people that stay in Oakland County, who we presume to have more money, pay less, while people in Wayne County?
Because it's based on the risk. It's based on risk and where you live.
Well, okay, I'm glad you go there. I know you got to go. Well, listen here. There's been a lot of cases where the car is registered in Oakland County, and it gets stolen in Detroit. It comes here in Detroit, and Detroit get the hit. So anywhere it go, that's not right. That's not right. Our cars is not registered here in Detroit and wind up in Oakland County.
Well, let's think about it like this. Could you take your car out to Oakland County and report it lost and then not get taken care of within the next couple hours unless it was something professionally done? Half the problem has been we are a big city with bigger city challenges, and that's why they do that. So
that's irrelevant.
No, it's not. I get what you're saying, though, Ken. I do get what you're saying. But they don't charge you based on strictly.
Your man Mike Duggan, he has more scandals
Mike Duggan was one of the few people that actually came up with a solution for insurance, Ken, and I don't think that's fair.
It hasn't been implemented in 4
That's
years.
because your Detroit caucus voted against it on Thursday night, Ken. They had a chance to change that. I suggest you call your state reps and see where they voted on that, because a lot of the Detroit caucus voted it down. No, Republicans, the Tom Leonard put the vote on the floor, and you had the Detroit caucus led by some folks again who I'm not going to challenge here personally because I know them personally. They made this they made it about redlining when they should have voted. I'll bring them on the show and let them explain themselves. But again, it was your Detroit caucus I'm not trying to make it. I'm telling you. Hey, Ken, thanks for calling in. We're going to the next caller here. We're going to go to the next caller. We're going to go to LaShonda. LaShonda, thanks for calling in.
Hello. I just wanted to say quickly that President Trump looked exceptional in his Air Force One jacket. And did you see the entire coverage?
All right. Wonderful. I'll be looking forward to that. Thank you, LaShonda.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to go to Jamal. Jamal's on the line. Jamal, thanks for calling in.
Good afternoon. 3 points here. First one about Clinton and the Democrat and Bernie Sanders. First of all, if Clinton going against Bernie, well, he turned Democrat, so maybe there's a case there that she's right, she's been Democrat all her life. But against others who run in, well, you know, the Clintonians want to be like the Bushes. His wife, it's her turn. That's his words. Bill Clinton, our beloved president, said...
Hey, Jamal, we got to wrap. I'm about to wrap this show up. Do you think that they should investigate the Clinton family and the way they rigged the working with the DNC?
I am no law enforcement. We all don't have all the subject. I leave that to the professionals. But from the point of view, I could have voted for Biden. But, you know, I don't think Clinton, with all her back coming with her publicly, should have stayed as a frontrunner for Democrats. Number two, and Detroit, my friends, Detroit needs economics. Detroit doesn't need only corporation to occupy downtown and make it flourish on the back of the taxation of the houses under the TIFA. The TIFA is collecting money without bringing back the money to everybody in Detroit. TIFA is about economic development.
Thank you, Jamal. I agree. This is all about economics. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate that. Jamal's right. It's about economics, jobs, and opportunities. It's not about creating another race war between the white and black voters. And I don't even, mostly are still black voters in Detroit. I don't know what Coleman Young, how come he's not talking more about jobs. We're going to go to Mike. Mike, thanks for calling in. We got like a minute left. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I want to go to the DNC situation. Now, here's the thing. Hillary has already said that she wasn't in collusion. She wasn't a part of that. Now, probably, yes, some other individuals may have done that. Why would they do that, though? Because they didn't want a madman in office. Trump is a possible madman. So if they did do that, which it wasn't right for them to push Bernie out, but they figured Bernie wasn't going to be able to beat Trump. You know what I'm saying? So
but Hillary couldn't beat Trump.
Hillary had nothing to do with that. Y'all need to get that out your mind that she set it up.
Hey, listen. Hey, Mike, you don't have to get mad at me. I'm the same with you. Hillary had nothing to do with that collusion the same way Donald Trump had nothing to do with collusion with Russia. So I'm okay with that, Mike.
About that one.
Yeah, you don't know about that one. I know you don't know about that one, but I'm okay with that. I'm rolling with you on that. I'm gonna roll with your story. I'm gonna roll with Clinton had nothing to do with that. She didn't know about the collusion between the DNC and her people, and Trump didn't know about any of this either. So I'm okay with that, Mike.
Well, they wanted Bernie out so that Trump couldn't win.
They didn't. As like the rest of politics did, they underestimated Donald Trump. And Donald Trump continues to prove them wrong. So thanks again, Mike.
He will be impeached.
All right. Well, I doubt that happens, but thanks again, Mike, for calling in today. I appreciate it. Man, we've had a good show. We had a lot of good callers, man. We went all the way to the very last minute with that. I want to make sure I tell everybody that's listening, I'm going to do it slowly today. Make sure you go to Spreaker. That's SPREAKER.com. Spreaker, you can get all my shows on there. You can go on Apple.com to the podcast section, download the Wayne Bradley Show. You can get it off of SoundCloud. You can get it off of YouTube as well. There's no reason to miss any of these shows. You can also follow me on Twitter at Conservative Bro. Go to the website, conservativebro.com. I want to thank all the callers who called in today. You guys really are the ones that make the show. We just had some great topics today. Hoping we pray for the safety of Donna Brazille. I know that was very brave of her to write that book and to come out with that interview. Very brave, because whatever happens against the Clintons never ends up good. But I want to thank everyone that listens to the Wayne Bradley Show. I'll be back on tomorrow morning from 5 to 7 a.m. as I am every day during the week, 5 to 7 a.m. And thanks for listening in. See you tomorrow.
Political radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. It's the Wayne Bradley Show. Conservative political radio, giving you what you need to know. Listen up, it's the Wayne Bradley Show. That's what it is.
If you want to hear the voices of Detroit, look no further than 910 AM Superstation.
Just because you've had prostate cancer and you've had the surgery doesn't mean you don't have sex anymore. A lot of black men would rather die with a smile on their face. Come on, let's be for real. And don't have it. I know some people who did not have it and are dead because they were more concerned about being able to maintain sexual function than